But the whole book, I don't know if you ever are you familiar with The Lord of the Flies? Have you ever read that?
No,
It's
I
it's
never
one of
heard of it,
those
to be honest with you.
classics that you'll read in English lit class. So basically, you had the movie was about, well, the original, because I know there was a remake that didn't go over as well because they use Americans instead of Brits. But Craig might be familiar with this. But the idea was you had these British boys, in Britain. They had this idea of boarding schools. So they have, again, these very proper kids, and they land on an island. And you start to see, because there's no structure, because there's no culture, you start to see the individuals start to regress to more instinctual, in some ways, more savage ways of doing things. Here you had these very proper British boys, and they started to paint, especially a lot of the leadership there. They started to paint themselves like in war paint and things. You had the one kid who was trying to be, I guess, more the reasonable one, was sort of ostracized from the society, and he became a target of these boys, because you had this one guy, this main leader, and I think the guy who was like sort of like the reasonable one, I think his name was Jack. But there was a lot of boys. You had nerdy kids and whatnot, but you had these kind of bullies, or kids who maybe came from proper, but they had a bullying nature to them. And he was able to mobilize these other boys to sort of follow, sort of in this pack mentality. He became the alpha, and they started taking on, again, these very kind of savage type of mindsets, to where at the end they were actually chasing the boy at the end. But at the last minute, I think you had a boat or something that came, and they finally found the boys and rescued them.